Today I'm going to be talking about Again But Better by Christine Riccio and why it shouldn't have been published. Before I begin, I just want to say I have nothing against Christine. I think she's a wonderful person and I think it is so great that more people in this community are getting books published. However, just because someone with a platform writes a book doesn't mean the book is good. I 100% believe that the biggest reason this book was published is because of her platform, not because of the contents. Because I can't imagine a debut author who didn't have 400,000 people behind them getting this book published. And the thing is, I do understand that some people are going to love this book, but I can't help but believe that is because they love Christine. And it kind of makes me really sad because that means there is someone who missed out getting their book published because of this one. With publishing houses, how it works is they have a certain amount of books they can publish every season, and this one was one of them for Wednesday Books, which means someone else who submitted a manuscript to Wednesday Book does not get their book published, which is kind of sad to think about, especially because this book isn't anything special. It's basically just fangirl on crack. It is so weird, it is awful, and it's just not good. If you enjoyed this book, that is great, but I didn't, and the majority of other people didn't, and I just really need to talk about this book because, it was just so bad, and I stuck through it for the whole thing. I tabbed the whole thing, and I hated pretty much every second of it, so I just really need to talk about it to make it worth it. So this video is going to be spoiler-filled, and I actually don't recommend you read this book at all. I think it is awful, but if you want to see what happened and have, just know what happens in this book so you can see why I don't like it, stick around because, yeah, that's your spoiler warning. So, before I begin, I just want to say my main problem with this book is Shane. She is the most not like other girls character you could possibly have. If you guys have ever seen r/not like other girls, she's basically what would happen if someone went onto that, read all the posts and was like, yep, I'm going to compile this into one character. She is quirky, she is different, she is just so annoying. She acts 12 when she's like 19, 20, 21. I don't really know how old she is, but she acts 12 for like the majority of the book. It's just so weird. Because read Six of Crows, those characters are like 16, 17, 18, and they act like they are in their mid-40s. Shane, she is an adult, and she acts like a child. I'm not going to talk about that too much right now. I want to actually get into the book, but you will see what I'm talking about very quickly. We open the book with the very relatable and very quirky line, "I'm leaving the country because I have no friends." Wow, how quirky. So this whole book kind of just like relies on being relatable, but it's kind of just sad, more sad than relatable, but it's fine. Anyway, so she's at the train station and she's writing, I can't tell if it's on her blog or her diary, like I honestly can't, but she's talking about how she's been doing college all wrong, you got it, and then she makes a list of things she wants to do. She wants to like kiss a boy, have adventures, get a little drunk but don't black out, drink responsibly, and then start your great American novel. You know, it's all very relatable. Anyway, we are on page 2 when my most hated character of all books I have ever read just walks in. So in comes this woman out of nowhere and just starts making fun of her. And I was just so confused, like what's going on? This doesn't happen in real life. And this woman pops up throughout the whole book. Like, she's reading over her shoulder and goes, how interesting. Am I to assume you're friendless as well? Like, who does this? It doesn't happen in real life. So Shane and this woman go off and on for each other for a bit. And it's kind of boring. I was honestly done with the book by then, but obviously had to power through. So they bicker back and forth, and she's like, I've got to go back, I've got to try this all again, I'm going to be so successful. Like, just shut up, no one cares. Anyway, so now she's at the baggage carousel, and just to show everyone how quirky she is, she wants to ask to share the cab with this girl, but she doesn't, and then the girl leaves. Like, I don't know, can we get an F in the chat boy?
Not funny!
What? So now she gets to school. Well, it's a uni college thing, I don't know. Technically it's a uni because it's in England, but oh well. So she meets her roommates, and because this book is quirky, they have the stupidest names, I swear to God. Who named these people? There's Babe, Sarah, Pilot, and then everyone else wasn't important enough for me to remember their name because the characters are extremely forgetful. Yeah, so she's in there, she meets all her friends, and they just automatically all become friends, even though they have nothing in common, don't really have any conversations, they're just friends now. And Shane's like, hell yeah, I've got friends. So then we meet Pilot. Pilot has to be the most annoying love interest I've ever read about. Oh god. First of all, having the name Pilot is just a no. She just instantly falls in love with him because how quirky his name is Pilot, and they all go out for drinks and they kind of belittle her for not drinking properly, so that's just fun. So then she just gets offered like some internship out of nowhere for some magazine. Oh, I forgot to mention. She like lied to her parents and said that she's doing like medicine, but she's actually doing English, so that comes into play later. So I'm skipping to chapter 10 because like nothing happens in between. Oh, wait, never mind. Okay, sorry, I had to mention this. There's a part where she writes, the professor's last name is Blackstairs, which reminds me of a book series I love. So first of all, I was like, oh my god, it's the Dark Artificers reference. So if you don't know, Blackstairs is a ship name between Emma Carstairs and Julian Blackthorne. Now here's the thing. The book takes place in 2011. The Dark Artificers came out in 2016. Now, I know Emma and Julian are in City of Heavenly Fire, but that came out in 2014. So she makes a reference to something that doesn't exist in this time period. How did no one catch that? Do you think editors would notice? You think she'd know when like this book is published? But no. So that kind of really annoyed me because, yeah, reference my favourite book but then get it wrong. You know, that's just fine. Anyway, so then they just decide out of nowhere that they're all going to go to Rome together for the weekend because, you know, school isn't an issue, money isn't an issue, they can just do whatever they want. So they go to Rome, they're in Rome, and she loses her purse and Pilot goes and helps her find it. It's like a whole thing because like no one cares about this girl. And then we are given the most beautiful line ever. Pilot loosed an excited hay of triumph. What does that mean? Is that English? Who wrote this? God, some of the writing is just awful, and I really just can't get over that. So then Pilot and Shane start talking about like her novel, and she goes, I haven't started, I have ideas, but I don't know, none of them feel good enough, or I guess, I'm not sure if I could write them, we'll see. And I just wrote Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, because that's basically what it is. Anyway, so then Babe, the random friend, like stupid name, she's trying to get like ins with this boy called Chad, which is already just a no-no, like whose name is Chad. So she decides that we're all going to go to Paris, and again, money's not an issue, school's not an issue, let's go to Paris. So Shane invites Pilot, and he says, we, get it, because French, anyway. They all go to Paris. Somewhere in between here we find out that what's his name has a girlfriend. Yeah, so they all go to Paris and having a gay old time. Anyway, so we meet Chad. This is how Chad introduces himself. Yo, nice to meet you.
Not funny!
Who wrote this? Just, how does someone write that line of dialogue down and be like, yeah, this is a good one? Like, that doesn't happen. So they go to a hostel after a night out in Paris, and Babe is like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna book the rooms so that I'm with Chad and, what's her name, Shane is with, and that Shane is with Pilot, because, you know, are fun. And then Shane has, like, a full-on freak out. She doesn't know whether to wear makeup or not, because, like, yeah, but they're in, like, rooms with other people, so it doesn't really matter. Anyway, so then they go out for, like, drinks and stuff, and then, what's her name? I always forget everyone's name. So then Shane is like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and then Chad just turns up out of nowhere, and his squishy lips hit her face. So I wrote a note here that says, Wattpad call. They want their plot back. Because basically, she just pulled out every single Wattpad cliche book trope out of nowhere. And the thing is, I have nothing against Wattpad. They tend to be written by teens. This is a published book written by an almost 30-year-old. There's a difference. So then she's like kind of distraught because this guy just like kissed her without consent. And Babe just goes, what, is Pilot not enough? You need every guy's attention on you? Like, what? What? It's not her fault, okay? And then just no one really cares about this for the rest of the book. They kind of just like make up, but like, ew, he just kissed her. Like, she pushed him off him, and then they all went up against her, and they're still bros with Chad. Like, what's going on? This is what happens when you name Chad. And they actually, like, swear for once, and I have the note, every time they swear, I'm shocked, because I forget this isn't a Disney Channel original movie. Because that's basically what it feels like. Shane acts like a 12-year-old. She is always just, like, overexcited about everything. Everything fascinates her. She's just, like, an idiot. She's immature, and it is so frustrating to read. I am 14, and I act older than her. She is, I don't even know how old, because she's so she's so forgettable, but she is older than me, and she acts like a child, and it is so tiring to read because every single page is her complaining and getting just, oh, drives me insane. Anyway, so we find out that Pilot has a girlfriend, but Shane decides because of the long distance she doesn't care. You know, because like if they're long distance they obviously must not care about each other. She just disregards this the entire book. So she's like trying to like lean on his shoulder and like get him to kiss her.
No!
But he he has a girlfriend and she does not care. Like, Shane, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? You can't just... Ugh. I saw like in my recommended, I haven't watched any other reviews of the book, I want to have like for my own opinion, but I saw in my recommended a video called Shane is a Home Wrecker, and I completely agree. Because the whole book, she's going after Pilot while Pilot has a girlfriend. And why does Pilot even have a girlfriend? He's such like an awful person, he's so annoying. Like, you'll just see in a second how much I hate him, but that's fine. So then we have this massive info dump from here to here, where rather than just like explaining this like throughout the book, no, we just get an info dump about how Shane is such a rebel that she's lying to her parents about studying medicine when she is doing English. Now, like, do what you want to do, you know? But here's the thing, your parents are paying thousands of dollars for you to do what you want to do, and you haven't even told them, what is this, okay? It would be so much better just to tell your parents, listen, I know you want me to do medicine, but I don't love it, I'm not passionate, and like, if you don't want to pay for me to do English, I will find a way myself. You can't just lie to your parents and use their money and essentially steal from them so you can do what you want and go to England. Like, no, that's not how it works. By the way, out of nowhere, she just decided to start calling him Pies.
Not funny!
Excuse me? Like, what? Okay, her need to be quirky drives me so insane. Like, oh my god, why do you need to call him Pies? What does that, okay, his name is Pilot. 2 syllables. Shortening that to Pies, it takes like almost the same amount of time to say. It's so stupid. You're not quirky. Just, oh god. She reminds me of this girl in my class who I like can't stand, and just, ugh. The annoying thing is everything works out for her all the time. She just doesn't deserve it. She's back to writing on her blog. By the way, oh, how did I forget to mention this? She has a blog called French Watermelons 19. You know who wrote this book? Poland Bananas 20. It's French after French toast, watermelon after watermelon, and then 19 after I think her cousins or something. Well, Poland Banana Books is Poland after Poland Springs. Sorry, I'm Australian, I don't have these brands. Bananas after banana yogurt, and then 20 after her amount of cousins. You know what? Just self-insert, why don't you? Like, oh, in my head, Shane isn't Shane. She is Christine because they are the same person. But here's the thing. Christine isn't a home wrecker. Christine is like really funny to like watch and she makes really great videos. Shane is just annoying. She's back to writing in her blog, but I don't think I don't know what's up with this because I can't tell if it's a diary or a blog when she writes, but it's fine. Anyway. So she has things I'm pretty sure about, and one of the things on the list is Pilot and I have almost kissed multiple times now, 91%, and 3, Pilot has a girlfriend, 73%. If he tells you he has a girlfriend, it's 100%. So then I have, so we're finally acknowledging that, because truly, the entire time they're in Paris and almost kissing and doing all this stuff, she just never thinks about the fact that he has a girlfriend. What? This just annoys me so much, because first of all, this book is already being done. Anna and the French Kiss, okay? This book already exists. To rip it off and then, it just doesn't sit well with me, this book. Like, he has a girlfriend, you know that, okay? Why are you going after him? Like, just back off. And her friends encourage her. So then she meets this guy called Melvin at some club, and he like asks for a number, and she just panics and gives it to him. And we don't talk about him for like the rest of the book, but then he comes into play at the end, which is just like so stupid. But anyway, so now she's reading City of Glass because, you know, gotta get those references in. Obviously, like, I'm a Cassandra Clare fan, but you can't rely on references just to make people like the book. She starts talking to her friend about it and recommends Mortal Instruments and this is actually said in the book, I'll add it to my TBR. I proceed to pitch the Mortal Instruments series until he agrees to check them out. Like, no one says that. I've recommended the Mortal Instruments to like maybe 15 people and most of them have read it, but they've never said to me, I'll add it to my TBR. Like, no, that's online talk. That's not in real life talk, okay? As I said earlier, Shane has this internship at this magazine. So it's a travel magazine called Packed for Travel, which is just like the stupidest name ever, but it's fine. So she asks Pilot if he wants to go around with her in London to start building her repertoire because the place offered her an article if she like is good or whatever. Anyway, so she goes to Pilot, hey, do you want to go? And he goes, no, sorry, I've already got plans to something, like, with my friends. And she gets so mad. Like, she doesn't say anything to him, but she is like, Pilot left for a trip to Bath today. Why didn't you tell any of us about it? I mean, yes, I guess he's not obligated to tell me about his life, but he didn't invite me, or any of us. I hate this is hurting my feelings. Like, he doesn't have to invite you. He is going on a trip with his friends who are all guys, okay? You are not his girlfriend. He is not obligated to bring you anyone. Even if you were, you can't just expect someone to take you everywhere with them, okay? You already went to Rome and Paris together and spent pretty much every single day together, so just leave him alone. The guy from the club, Melbourne or whatever. By the way, I forgot to mention, she had her first kiss with that guy. Yeah, it's just so anticlimactic that I forget, like, that it happened constantly. I was just reminded now because she said she did. But yeah, that happened. So he asks if she wants to catch up with him, and he goes, and she says, I panicked and told him I'll be in Germany because, you know, relatable. She posts a bunch of pictures on Facebook about, like, the trip to Rome, and all her cousins start freaking out about the pictures of her and Pilot because, you know, they took some pictures together, like, as you do with friends. And then all their cousins are going, oh my god, you're dating, and she doesn't, like, go no, she just, like, deletes all the messages. So then she gets a Skype call from her dad, and she's like, and he's like, what's this I hear about you having a boyfriend? So if you want to know what the dad is like, have you seen the movie Muriel's Wedding? Because he is Bill Heslop, like, that's all he is. So the dad says, what's this I hear about you having a boyfriend? And then Shane shifts against the wall in her bunk and says, I don't have a boyfriend. And then the dad goes, that's not what I heard from Leo. And then Shane goes, well, Leo's an ass. And then the dad goes, what's wrong with you? I'm just asking a question. This guy is such an awful father. And she just lets him get away with it. Like, he just, like, oh, I don't like him at all. So the mum changes the subject and they're talking or whatever, and that kind of just, like, dies. But they still think she's doing medicine. She feels kind of guilty, as she should, because she is stealing her parents' money. But you know what, let's just not address that. And some more boring stuff happened. I couldn't tell you what because I've forgotten. Like, I finished this book last week and I've forgotten all of it. So then, out of nowhere, her parents just arrive in England, go up to her dorm, and is like, hey everyone, we're taking you to dinner. And they're like, oh sorry, we have to study, we can't go. Like, no, you're coming. They force all the friends, which is basically abduction. Like, I literally have here abduction question mark, because that's what it is. They start talking, and this is when everything goes down. So basically, Shane has been telling everyone, well, telling her family, that she is interning with Sarah at some medical thing. Her dad starts asking Sarah about the medical thing because I don't know how doctors work. Anyway, so she's like, oh no, I practice law. And meanwhile, Pilot's trying to distract because, you know, Pilot, you know, knight in shining eyes. But the dad's like, no, shut up, I want to know about this. And she's like, I don't intern with Shane. Shane does English. And the parents lose their mind, as they should. They start yelling at her like, you're going home. She starts crying and kind of like extremely embarrassing. The secondhand embarrassment was something else. Shane, dad demands. Scalding hot tears materialize without warning as I raise my gaze. Shane, what's going on? Mum's concerned blue eyes lock onto mine. My heart constricts. Is there no pre-med program here? That was in italics, so I decided to read it like that. Dad's voice explodes to fill the room. I shrink down an inch in my seat. No, not technically, but you a little. And then, like, they go up. Like, they're in a restaurant. You can't just start abusing your daughter in a restaurant, no matter how stupid she is. But you know what? It's great. She's sad. She goes back to, like, the dorm, and then Pilot's girlfriend's there out of nowhere. So she finds, Shane's notebook where she wrote all about how she's trying to steal Pilot. And she's reading it, and Shane notices. Shane says, what do you think you're doing? And then Amy goes, it was on the couch, so I opened it. Once I realised what it was, I needed to know. And then she goes, I see him in all your pictures. I knew it. I knew this was happening. Keep your distance. So then Shane acts like she's the victim, because obviously, you know, if you steal someone's boyfriend, you're the victim. Anyway, so the whole, like, trip kind of ends there, and we're only, like, halfway through the book. So I was like, what is all of this? I was like, there is more than half of the book left. Like, look at that. So here we are at part 2, 2017. So yeah, so they all leave, and Shane's like kind of depressed now because like everything she set out to do didn't happen. She kind of like ruined her relationship with her parents and ruined someone else's relationship, but it's all fine. So now it is 2017, and I think she's applying for a job or something. She's doing medicine, and she is still with that guy Melvin. So she's like kind of sad. So she goes out and she finds Pilot, and Pilot is also kind of sad. And she starts talking to him about how what could have been. And if you want to know what she says, the best way to summarize it is like this.
Business calls, I'm up to my ass in shit. What's business? Markets are crashing and I'm at the edge of my wits. I just can't take it when all I want to do is spend.
Anyway, so he's like, listen, I'm still with Amy, you're still with Melvin, like, no, nothing happened, you need to get over it. They see the red-headed lady that stuff. By the way, I forgot to mention, she pops up throughout this whole book. They'll be at Starbucks, there she is. They'll be like down the street, there she is. She doesn't leave. This red-headed lady is the woman from the start, like my most hated character of all time. That's her. They go on for a bit and Shane's being extremely desperate, and then they get in an elevator and it crashes to the ground, killing them both.
No!
But then, out of nowhere, they're alive, and it is 2011 again. Let that sink in. This is a contemporary book that has nothing about it being like sci-fi. This book said nothing about magical realism or sci-fi, and then out of nowhere, guess what? Now there's time travel. What? No. So then the title starts making sense again, but better, because it is 2011 again, and only Shane and Pilot remember what's going on. So at this point, I sat in my bed late in the morning, like late at night, going, like, just whispering to myself, what is going on? Because this made no sense. You can't just pull this out of nowhere. That's not how writing works. All plot twists must have foreshadowing, okay? Just every plot twist has to have foreshadowing, or it is lazy writing, okay? I feel like she couldn't make it's just so bad. Anyway, so she's like, guess what? We can be together now. Dump Amy. He's just like, no, like, we have to go back. And she's like, I don't want to go back. He's like, well, we have to go back. Meanwhile, while Pilot's trying to find a way to get back to his life, Shane decides to, like, now's the time to be quirky and just insist that they rip off Wrecking Ball now. And, like, here's the thing. I really feel for Shane right now, because it was 2017, which means she has to wait, like, 6, 7, 8 years for Queen of Air and Darkness. So, shout out to her, she's a real one. So they work out from the red-headed woman, who is a spirit guide like in 17 again, that they need to find a portable button. If you choose to push it, you'll go back to the elevator. This opportunity will be lost and forgotten. So then we have my note, what kind of crackhead book is this? That's basically how I was feeling, because you can't just pull this out of nowhere. They go back to like meeting everyone and all this, and they already know everything, and things just happen all over again. But I will say the writing improves so much on the second half of the book, because Shane's no longer acting like she's 4. So she's like, okay, I'm not going to get with Melvin. They go to Rome, and while she is eating ravioli, this is what happens. I gag. A mouthful of ravioli and metal $half-dollar-sized object spills out into my hand. Ew, and not swearing because that's naughty. And it's some sort of lock with an inscript on it. A bolt of fear rams through me. I clasp my fingers over the thing. Then we have the note. I was starting to like this, and then you pull this. Like, what? I thought it was going to be like somewhere that like something happened, but no, she chokes on ravioli, and that's how they find the button to get back. Like, what? So then Pilot is like, oh my god, now we can go back. And Shane's like, no, I don't want to go back. And he's like, I'm sorry, what? So they argue for a bit, and then in the end come to an agreement. If one of them pushes it, they both have to agree. He goes to her, I'm gonna break up with Amy, and I'm like, finally. So that was uneventful. So they go back to Paris, and this time they're like together, like they kissed, and they do the devil's tango. It's like a whole thing. So they're together now, and they're like in love and whatever, which is just, you know, great, because all they've done is fight the whole time. Pilot has been such a douchebag, and Shane has been such an idiot, but you know what? It's alright now, because they're together, and that's all we wanted, right? Everyone was shipping them. So then we come to the shocking realization that Babe's name is actually Barbara, which is just a reminder to all of us how, if it hadn't been for this opportunity, she wouldn't have gotten to know everyone like this. How lucky are they that they time traveled? Like, what? No! So then he tells Shane that while she writes, he has been watching her, and he says, your mouth would move like you were talking to the page. I imagine the sound of your voice being drawn out, going straight from your mind to the paper, like your arm was an audio cord. Like, just a bit weird, you know? Who thinks about it that much? I really hate this trope in books when, like, a guy's like, I've been watching you, the way you do things is just so romantic. Like, what? No, it's creepy, not romantic. Oh, so here comes... Okay, so, basically, you know how Pilot broke up with Amy? He didn't. He sent her a voicemail, and she didn't check it. So she turns up in England being like, I'm so excited to see my boyfriend. But they're not together, but she thinks they are. But now Shane and Pilot are together because, you know, it's basically just the climactic scene to Mrs. Doubtfire, except for worse. Like, he's trying to break up with her, she thinks they're still together, they're like, oh, it's just bad. So they break up. So then, but Shane is like so mad, so she breaks up with him and she goes to press a button to go forward in time. But it doesn't work, and redheaded idiot lady is like, nah, sister, like, you ain't getting no secondary location. So she goes to her, you're not ready yet, which just defeats the purpose of the button. But you know what, that's fine. Anyway, so then her parents turn up again, and this time she just like tells them that she's been lying to them. And then we get probably the only good line in the whole book, where she says to her dad, forcing me into a life I don't want isn't what's best for me. And that kind of fixed that whole thing up. So I did like that part. And she has like this heart-to-heart with her cousin Leo, and Leo's kind of been like an awful person this whole book, like always making fun of her. But we find out that Leo's gay, and that's why he's like pretending to be like this, which is really, like, that was sweet. I like that part. So then we get to page 352, and I noticed this is like the fear of falling apart, and I'm like, hey, this is gospel. Then I remember that like every single chapter has a song lyric, and that's when I'm like, I'm on page 352, and I just realized that all the chapters are song lyrics. I'm such an idiot. No matter what I think of this book, what I think about this book, that is smart, because it really is, like, yeah, props for that. There's like, it's good. So then she publishes an article at that Pack the Travel place. It doesn't matter because no one cared about that anyway. So then Pilot tries to get back together with her by like playing bad songs at her or like singing or something. Anyway, I didn't really get that part, and it was really late at night at this point. I don't know, so they get back together like nothing ever happened, because you know it's fine. It's like, I love you, and she's like, I love you, and then that whole thing is over because thank God. So we've made it to the end of the book, and they've decided that they're not going to press the button, and then they ended up living the rest of their lives together. So now it's the epilogue, and Shane is an author, and everything works out for her despite all the awful things that she did to get where she is, and she's a Pilot, and it's all great. So my final thoughts. This book drives me insane. The things that she gets away with, just, she shouldn't have had a happy ending, because the things she did were not good. She went after a guy with a boyfriend, she lied to her parents, she stole, she manipulated people. It just drove me insane. I just hated it so much. I had to drag myself through it, and if you like it, good for you, but like, don't read this. Read Fangirl. It is so much better. I read books very quickly, okay? I can read a book in like 1, 2, 3 days. This took me like almost a week because of how annoying it was. I would just like to say, so all the blue tabs are stuff I don't like. What? And the thing is, this book is so forgetful. I read it last week and I had to keep going back because I couldn't remember what was happening because it was so repetitive. Like, the second half of the book is just repeating the first half, except we know what's gonna happen. Like, what type of book is that? I know, like, a lot of people are making videos like this for views, and I thought the same thing, but honestly, it's such a weird book, it's such a bad book, and I understand why everyone's doing it. Like, I just had to talk about this book because I can't stop thinking about it. It's all I think of. So yeah, that is all I have to say about this book. If you have any questions about it, ask, because I have so much to say. So thank you so much for watching my rant, because Jesus Christ was this weird. Thank you so much for watching. I upload every Tuesday, even though today is not Tuesday. Well, if you do actually enjoy this book, please don't take this to heart. It's just a bit of fun. I didn't enjoy it. I just wanted to talk about it. And I do see why other people are enjoying it. I didn't relate to Shane, but I can see why other people could. So thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you next time. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. It is in my description because I am almost at 3,000 followers. And that would be really good to have 3,000 followers. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!